technology companies have really grown in size. If you look at the market cap of Amazon, it's close to $500 billion. Facebook's at $500 billion. Google's at $700 billion. These are big companies now. They're bigger than the GDPs of most countries in the world in terms of size. But if you look at their contribution back to the economies, if you look at the taxes that they pay, we did a very interesting exercise to compare Amazon versus Walmart. Now, Walmart is the largest retailer in the world, largest retailer in the US. Since 2008, if you look at the cumulative taxes that this $250 billion behemoth has paid to the US government, Walmart has paid about $63.6 billion in taxes cumulatively from 2008. If you look at the same number for Amazon, it's about $1.3 billion. A similar comparison you can do on the top 5 taxpayers in the US, the likes of Exxon, Chevron, Walmart, JP Morgan, Wells Fargo, and compare them to the FANG stocks, for example. Look at how much Facebook, Amazon, Google have paid. In 2015, Facebook, Amazon, Netflix, Google paid about $4.3 billion of cash taxes. The top 5 taxpayers, which the companies that I mentioned, paid about $43.6 billion of tax in that year, just the top 5. I think this discrepancy, this dichotomy will not continue for too long. Governments will set their eyes on these companies and demand a fair share of contribution back to the economies, back to the the land which has driven their growth in some ways. So far, they've been able to create some interesting vehicles, interesting tax management schemes in terms of paying low taxes, which has really worked very well for the investors. But I think as you look out into the future, as you look out to the size that these companies have become, their contribution back to the economies will be asked for. And I think government oversight and government regulation and government compliance with tax laws and special tax laws created to tax the profits of these companies are likely on the horizon. And that risk, I don't think is sufficiently valued in the likes of all these stocks. And that's something that I worry about when I think about Amazon, when I think about Facebook. I worry about the fact that you can't be a $500 billion corporate and pay the US government only about $1.3 billion of taxes over the last 5 or 7 years. That will probably change in the future. And are we as investors thinking enough about that? Are we valuing that in the valuations of these companies? I would say the answer is, at this point of time, not really.